The United States will also continue to engage the Egyptian government on its political trajectory and to raise human rights and political reform issues. There should be no doubt that these issues remain significant bilateral priorities for the United States.
All right, folks, and what the White House spokesman Josh Earnest is talking about is that Mohammed Morsi, the former head of the Muslim Brotherhood in Egypt, well, he may still be the head of the Muslim Brotherhood, but he ran Egypt until he was kicked out because he was so repressive to non-Muslims. The White House is very concerned that he gets due process and a fair trial and a fair hearing. Yet we have, as I welcome in Congressman Lee Zeldin, U.S. Congressman from the 1st Congressional District in New York and a member of the House Foreign Relations Committee. Congressman, I know your committee, and first of all, welcome, and your committee had hearings today on the Iran deal, but we have a Marine being held by Iran. We have a journalist who was just charged with spying 2 days ago being held by Iran, and we have a Christian pastor who's being held because he's a Christian, and 2 of them have been beaten and tortured, and I haven't heard the White House as concerned about their well-being as they're negotiating this deal as they are about the head of the Muslim Brotherhood in Egypt.
Oh, yeah, I agree, Steve. I have not heard much either about it. It should really be part of these negotiations with Iran. It's amazing how much isn't even part of the negotiations, yet the inconsistency in the president's foreign policy has him more concerned about others in other countries who aren't U.S. citizens, who really are in more desperate need to have their president stick up for them.
Yeah, it's really sickening. Let me ask you, how did the hearings go today? Who did you question, and what did you learn?
So we had, at this point, really it seems like every week, every other week, where we are able to get together as a Foreign Affairs Committee, discuss the negotiations. There's a lot of new facts to talk about, and just in the last few weeks, the Ayatollah is talking about chanting "Death to America" on the streets. Obviously, there's a lot of refuting going on in Iran as to the fact sheet and the framework agreement that was presented by the president 3 weeks ago. I think one of the most significant agreements that was met when they were 3 weeks ago walking away from the table was that each side was going to go back to their home country and spin where they were at that moment in these talks,
right,
to whatever best serves their own domestic politics. So just a lot of new developments, and obviously reading in the last couple of days, the standoff as the Iranians team with the Syrians and the Houthis to overthrow government in Yemen. There's a lot of reason to be concerned that we're on track to make a bad deal that has disastrous consequences.
Well, before we get to the ships, and I do want to talk about the mixed messages about the ships, our warships going to that region, but they acknowledge when questioned by the media that these are issues they're aware of, whether it's Yemen, whether it's the other capitals that Iran is through proxy taken over, whether it's their support for terrorism, no matter what it is. Oh, we're aware, but we consider these separate. Because if they're that bad that they're doing all these things, imagine how dangerous they'd be with a nuclear weapon doing all those things. I can't even fathom that line of thinking.
Well, the point that I raised today, and a lot of my constituents, people are, they're busy working jobs, taking care of their family, but it's also time where some people are tuning into playoff basketball, playoff hockey, and these series are based
Let's
off
go Islanders, by the way.
Yeah, right. Well, Islanders and Rangers are both competing hard against the Capitals and Penguins. And, it's like, and they're all 7-game series. You need to win 4 games in order to make it to the next round. And, the President of the United States is the #1 seed going into these negotiations. We're going up against a mediocre Division II basketball team.
I love the
We are giving up our first 3 games.
Yep.
We are taking... we're taking a loss through the first half of the 4th game, and my point is to this president that he needs to take a walk, he needs to catch his breath, he needs to regain a strong footing, because it's crazy just how much is not part of these negotiations.
All right, I don't want to interrupt, but we have only a minute. What's the purpose of our ships being there? We were told last week or a couple of days ago that were sending ships to intercept Iranian ships if they, threaten to get into that Yemen area. And now the State Department is saying that they're there to ensure the shipping lanes remain open and safe and, quote, not to do anything in terms of those Iranian ships. That's from Maria Harf at the State Department yesterday. So why are they there? We got 30 seconds.
Well, they draw their red lines with crayons. This is something that happened in Syria. It's happened elsewhere. They sent the ships there for one purpose, and now they're shifting and kind of walking that back. It's unfortunate, but that's the inconsistency in this president's foreign policy, which needs to strengthen. Yep. And it risks American exceptionalism, and I don't accept that.
All right. Congressman, great to talk to you. You'll keep us informed, I know, and I love the sports analogy, the hockey analogy. Take care.
All right, take care. Bye-bye.
All right, thank you, Congressman. We're coming back, folks. Don't go away.